sleep mode.
I'm not going to have that happen.
Hey, welcome to those that have joined us here in council chambers, as well as those that are viewing from home. I will let everyone know this evening that we do have the Boy Scout Troop 54 joining us here in chambers, and their leader, Dan. Their merit badges for citizenship in the community and communications. So welcome to all of you, and you picked a really good night because I know this meeting will be fairly short. Okay? All right. If we could all please rise, I'll lead you in the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Lord, thank you for this day and for the many blessings we've received in our city throughout 2018. As we move forward on issues before us this evening, we ask for a portion of your wisdom. We also ask that we be thoughtful in this holiday season, mindful of our neighbors, especially
His new capacity.
Thank you. And you don't get a department head to introduce you because, well, you are the department head.
Yes, sir. My name is Jack Rajerick. I've been working for the city now for 3 years. Just recently assumed the duties as the utility superintendent. Like Mr. Wheeler said, prior to that, I did 26 years in the Navy. I served on 5 different ships. Visited many places around the world. 26 years flew by very, very fast. But I look forward to continue to serve the residents for the city of Poquoson in my current duties, along with our team in the utilities department. So unless there's any questions, that's really
I don't have any, but Chad, thank you for your service to the country, and thank you for what you're going to do for the citizens of Poquoson. We look forward to you. We'll try not to call you Bob too many times.
Thank you, sir.
He's been here a long time, so we've got some habits to break. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Thanks. And then the other special presentation we have this evening is from the fire department.
Joe, are you going to present?
Who's
Joe Breeden and Clay Cooper. 2 for 1.
all right?
All right.
This is Mr. Mayor, members of council, city manager. This is a little project that we took on in-house to kind of promote our organization. Lieutenant Cooper took the lead on it, and this is our first attempt, and you're probably going to see some more things like this come down the pike, and hopefully it gets a little better every time. So with that, Lieutenant.
All right. Mayor, City Council, City Manager, thanks for having us. And I want to thank Chief Holloway and Chief Bryant for allowing me to create this. And it's kind of informative, and it really showcases the good equipment that we have here in Poquoson, and we're real lucky to have. I guess without further ado, let's see the video. And thank you all.
Looking forward to it. Chad's all over the lights already.
Yeah, he's good.
Poquoson Fire and Rescue Marine Incident Response Team. With over 100 miles of shoreline, Poquoson Fire and Rescue can respond where others can't with Airboat 1 to the shallow waters, marshes, and estuaries. While Marine 1 can answer the calls to water emergencies in the creeks, tributaries, and the open waters of the Chesapeake Bay, including the Poquoson, York, and Back Rivers. Crew members are firefighters and officers, advanced life
That's basically it.
Clay and
Like you said, we look forward to creating more videos in the future, and maybe not just for the fire department. You know, it's something that we enjoy doing. It's something I really, since I started, I really like doing it, so.
well, it was really good. And let me point out to citizens a couple things that probably you should point out, is that not only is it service to the citizens of Poquoson, but I know that you've been called to the other localities, specifically Newport News, others with what I call a unique ability to respond, both from the airboat situation and as well. And a lot of great things in that boat that you've got, besides the firefighting capability, the sonar, the FLIR, the infrared search like you have on the drone now.
Right.
But all of that is possible because of y'all in that department leaning forward and writing grants and allowing us to touch monies that other localities, we benefited from it. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
So thank you for what you did. Thank you for showcasing it and continue to do stuff like that for us. We really appreciate it.
Hey, we do too. And you can get that on the city website, as y'all know. You can also watch it again, and it's also on YouTube. So if anybody wanted to rewatch it in the future.
All right, great.
So,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, the next item on the agenda this evening is an audience for visitors. We don't have any public hearings this evening, so if anybody would like to address council on any issue, now is that time. Okay, I don't see anybody that wants to speak at audience for visitors, so I'll close that item on the agenda and ask council for approval of the minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve our minutes of our regular session of November 13th, 2018.
Second.
A motion made and seconded that we approve the minutes. Questions or comments of council? Seeing none, Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hux,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Canella,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Aye.
Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, very well. And the work session, same date?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve our minutes of our work session of the same night.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded that we approve those also. I don't see any hands up, so Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Hux,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman,
Aye.
Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Aye.
Councilman Canella,
Aye.
Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, very well. Two items under new business this evening. First is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Work Plumbing and Heating for replacement of 3 heating, ventilation, and air conditioning units at City Hall.
Well, good evening. In front of you is one of the final phases to replace the units here. If you recall, last year we brought to you replacing 3 units upstairs. Now it's time for the libraries and part of this chamber to be replaced. And due to the limit threshold, I need to bring the contract in front of you because it's over the $100,000 in order to enter into such contract. So in front of you, you have a resolution allowing the city manager to enter into a contract with Warwick Heating. We're doing a rider clause with the city of Richmond, which allows us to utilize their procurement to enter into a contract.
Excellent. Okay, any questions? Anybody prepared to make a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into contract with Warwick Plumbing and Heating Corporation for replacement of 3 HVAC units at City Hall.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Are there any questions on this item? Seeing none. Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Green,
Aye.
Councilman Hucks,
Aye.
Councilman Canella,
Aye.
Councilman Southall,
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman,
Aye.
Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, thank you. The next item under new business is mid-year recommendations and approval, an ordinance to appropriate funds or move funds around here mid-year in 2019. So Randy, if y'all can do a brief on this.
I would be pleased to, sir. Council members will recall a couple of things that happened that led us to where we are this evening. In November, council received formally the report from our year-end audit, which tells you how much money that the city had in its various funds and accounts at the end of the fiscal year. We take that information, we apply it as staff against your fiscal guidelines. We update our current year revenue and expense projections to make sure that we think we're in a good place, which we are in terms of the current fiscal year. And there are times, once those are completed, that we still have some available money in excess of the minimum requirements of your guidelines, where it may make sense to, within the context of your strategic priorities, to either advance them or to do them, accelerate them, do them a little sooner. So we put forward for your consideration recently at your budget retreat some ideas on how to, again, advance your priorities. There are a number of things here. This is consistent with last week's discussion. But essentially, you have a year in balance, and you have, in this fortunate instance, we had more than our policy required. So the first reallocation of that was the school carryover. To give the schools back, you appropriated back to them the monies that they ended their fiscal year with. And beyond that, there are 4 additional things. Now, first is to make a contribution of a portion of that money that was more than what was required from your balances to your fiscal stability reserve fund. As council will recall, a few years ago, you established an aspirational goal as part of your fiscal management guidelines of $1 million. So far, we've done $600,000. So if you approve this evening, we'll be a little further towards that aspirational goal. Second is an equal amount contribution against our long-term liabilities associated with our retiree health insurance primarily, or what they call OPEB, other employment post-employment benefits. The third is to provide some limited but much appreciated capital funding for such things as police cars or small other projects, and that will be something that we will be working to bring back to you likely in the first quarter of next year. Some recommendations on how to use that ultimately. It's your decision on how to move forward with that. And having been able to make those investments, we then turned and had been working with several of you over the past year to could we appropriately utilize some of the remaining balance to advance an important priority that we anticipated doing with the next fiscal year, which is July 1st. Could we do it a little sooner using some of the money that we had? And there is a 3-part recommendation. And you're all familiar with this, but for the benefit of anyone that is sitting in the audience or watching us on television, the 3 pieces are to provide if approved, a lump sum bonus for all permanent, full-time city employees, which if approved will be given later this week. It's consistent with bonuses that you've been able to give at times over the last 10 years. I think this is the 4th time out of 10 that we were in a position where that was possible. The way that would work is it comes in a lump sum check. that same amount of money would be part of the employee's permanent annual salary beginning with the next fiscal year, July 1st. Second, for our part-time permanent employees, we have some employees that are like permanent, they're not summer employees, they're not lifeguards or gym supervisors, but they're actually permanent part-time employees. And for those people, the recommendation before you is $250 in terms of the bonus, not to be applied as part of their regular salary, as with those folks, they have different salary rates and they work different hours and those hours flex. So this, it doesn't translate into the future quite the same way. And lastly, for the first time in a long time, we're in a position to advance, accelerate a differentiated compression adjustment for our employees. And what is proposed here is a 0.2% salary adjustment for each completed year of city service up to a maximum of 30 years service for this calculation. So an employee that has been here 2 weeks would not receive anything associated with this. Someone that is like our fire chief who has been here for 40 years would receive up to a 6% pay increase. His years of service capped at 30, multiplied by 0.2. So the purpose of this is to really begin to help spread our employees out. Each of our positions has a pay range, but because we have not had the ability to move people through that pay range, if they came in towards the bottom, they could be here 10 or 15 years, and they're pretty much still close to the bottom unless they've been promoted. So this is recommended to you not as the solution to that issue, but as a significant and good first step. And I'll be glad to answer any questions that you may have. Just one final thought, two final thoughts. That if you approve that, that would go into effect as of the first of the calendar year, so that would be sooner. And a question today, well, how much of this, what does the fund balance look like afterwards? The fund balance, as you know, is a June 30th point in time, and after that, it moves. But essentially, the fund balance with these adjustments, if you approve them, will still be about 1.5 percentage points to almost 2 percentage points higher than it was at the end of 2 fiscal years ago, so which is a long way of saying we have an improved fiscal position. We've been able, assuming you approve it, to reinforce your fiscal management guidelines with the first 3 items and make an investment 6 months earlier than you had anticipated for your employees. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions. I'm sorry if that was long-winded, but for the folks at home, I just wanted to make sure they understood what we were doing and why.
Thank you. And I mean that because you're right. Council, we've all had previous discussions about this and work sessions and off-sites to iron out the details. So thank you for that thorough explanation. So you got a question?
No, sir, it's not a question, just a clarification, because I know how people can jump to conclusions.
Okay.
We know what Randy was saying, but at the end, he kind of misspoke and said that the year's service times 0.2, it's 0.002, because it's 0.2%. You said it correctly at the beginning, but then at the end, you said years of service times 0.2, but it's 0.002. So the most would be 6%.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry if I was not clear.
I think y'all are saying the same thing, so that's very good. All right, so is anybody prepared to move forward with a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt an ordinance to appropriate funds to the various governmental funds of the city of Poquoson, Virginia for fiscal year 2019 to fund exactly what Randy described.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded. Any comments of council? Okay, seeing none, Evie, please.
Certainly. Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Canella.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, very well. Comments of the city manager? You got any left? They were going for a record meeting this evening.
Just one. On behalf of all of our employees, I just want to thank you for the action that you just took.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Hux.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I had a couple of things to comment on. The first is our Christmas parade. Thought that was a very enjoyable time, very well managed, and I'm thankful to have been able to attend again this year. So my compliments and thanks to all involved that helped to support that. The new pavement on With Creek Road, thought that was done very efficiently with minimal disruption. The end result is certainly a big improvement over what we had, and thanks to all involved that supported that. And I'm very thankful that we were able to take the action tonight in support of our employees that do such a fine job supporting all of us. So thank you very much.
Okay. Randy, you want to follow up on the paving?
Thank you. I don't usually jump in, but I would like to respond if I could. Today, we were fortunate enough to host the city manager of Hampton. I was fortunate to buy her lunch today in Poquoson, and she drove from Hampton across our new stretch of newly paved roads. And she left with a new appreciation of the difference between their side and our side, and she is committed to at least work to get the potholes and the other things fixed. As we approach the larger project, she's gained an understanding of sort of how quickly road conditions can get away. So she is going to turn her attention to the worst places there as you come into Poquoson. So
That's good to hear. Thanks, Randy. All right, Councilman Green.
Just like to echo everything that Councilman Huck said. It's, both of them were very well received, and we appreciate it very much. Also, I'd like to remind the citizens that this is one of the months that our mobile food pantry does not fall on its normal time. It's going to be the third Tuesday, the 18th of December at the Old City Hall from 10 to 1. And our host this time is the Kirkwood Presbyterian Church.
Very good. Councilman Cannella.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The first thing I wanted to do was thank Lieutenant Cooper and Battalion Chief Breeden for their video. I've been fortunate to see the 3 pieces of apparatus in that video in service, and the guys do an incredible job with those pieces of equipment, and they're such an asset to this city. And like you mentioned, Mr. Mayor, the surrounding jurisdictions. And I tell you, I couldn't be more thankful for the guys who put them to use. I know we all are. And just a second, Councilman Hux and Councilman Green, what we did tonight with pay raises and that bonus is huge for our employees. It's long overdue and well-deserved, and I certainly hope they enjoy it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Councilman Southall.
Yeah, I'd like to second all the comments that have been made previously and welcome Chad to his new position with the city and thank him for stepping up and accepting that responsibility. We're looking forward to working with you. I'd also like to thank the scouts for being here tonight, learning about their civic responsibilities and duties. It's a very important responsibility that you have when it comes to city government, and it's something you need to learn well. And thank the citizens at home for being here and watching and paying attention to their city government. I'd like to also welcome everybody a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year or a Happy Holiday, whatever your religion, and think about those who are less fortunate. We live in the best city in the state of Virginia. We have the best citizens, and I believe that they will do the right thing when it comes to thinking about their fellow person. So thank you all very much and Happy Holiday.
Thank you, Bud. Councilwoman Andrews.
I don't think I could say it any better than I had in my head to say exactly what Bud was saying as far as the holidays and whatever everybody's celebrating. Have a safe and happy holiday and a good new year.
Okay, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Only thing I can add is just wish everybody a Merry Christmas.
Very well. In closing out this evening, I think I said most everything is that I believed in the prayer this evening. I do hope that people will look around within their communities and find those in need. We still, though we live in what I consider the finest city, we still have pockets of need, and I'd like to see everybody reach out for those in this holiday season. I'm thankful, one thing is that I'm thankful for the people at this table here this evening, including our city attorney who keeps us straight and out of trouble. And now, yeah, that too. For Evie, that does such a great job supporting all of us. For Randy, who does a great job running the city on our behalf. And for this council, who I think has moved this city very far forward in the last 2 years. So really appreciate everything that you're doing, and happy holidays to all of you. I'll take a motion to adjourn. Oh, closed session. Okay, so I'll take a motion to go into closed session, and then everybody can leave, and we'll dismiss the meeting later.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we convene a closed session pursuant to Section 2.23711A7 as amended to discuss a specific legal matter requiring the advice of legal counsel.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded that we go to closed session. Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilman Canella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion passed with a vote 7-0.
Okay, and we're in closed session. Thank you. Sam. I had Chad's name in my mind. I was going to get ready to go to Chad. But. Okay, we're back on in council chambers, and if I could get the council to make a motion that we certify our closed session.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we certify our closed session and that we only talked about what we convened the closed session to talk about.
Second.
Okay, motion made and seconded that we certify that closed session. Evie, please.
Certainly. Councilwoman Andrews.
Aye.
Councilman Canella.
Aye.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Very well. And a motion to adjourn.
So move, Mr. Mayor.
Second.
Councilman Southall.
Aye.
Vice Mayor Freeman.
Aye.
Councilman Hucks.
Aye.
Councilman Green.
Aye.
Councilman Canella.
Aye.
Councilwoman Andrews.
Aye.
And Mayor Hunt.
Aye.
Mr. Mayor, the motion carried by a vote of 7-0.
Okay, very well, and we are adjourned.